Hello and welcome. I am Gimba Umar. Tonight, suspected terrorists infiltrate IDP camps in Adamawa State, detonate a bomb, killing at least 7 people. Northern governors meet in Kaduna State, resolve to clear outstanding workers' salaries. Accountant General of the Federation dismisses fears that the deadline for the migration into Treasury single accounts may not be met. And about 100 people killed, 154 others injured after a crane collapsed in Mecca, Saudi Arabia.
And on business news tonight, Nigeria's interbank lending rates eased by 75 basis points on cash increased liquidity in banks.
On sports news tonight, Italian Roberto Vinci shatters Serena Williams' ambition of a calendar Grand Slam at the US Open semi-finals.
We begin tonight from the troubled region in Nigeria's northeast, where 7 people have died after a bomb went off at a warehouse in the Kogi IDP camp in Yobe, Adamawa State. The National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, which confirmed the explosion, says that 9 other people were injured in that attack. The NEMA coordinator in the state, Mr. Saad Bello, told Channels Television that the injured are receiving treatment in a hospital and normalcy is gradually being restored in the camp.
Here is Kogi camp, where accommodation is provided for most of the displaced persons who fled the war zone in Nigeria's northeast. Their thinking is that they've escaped, but the terrorists don't seem to be giving up as they infiltrated the once peaceful camp, detonating a bomb and leaving 7 people dead. Not even officials of the National Emergency Management Agency were spared, as 4 out of the 7 dead are NEMA staff.
A bomb exploded in one of the tents very close to the store where we keep our food and non-food materials. After the usual screening and scanning by the security, we found out that we came to the conclusion that about 3 corpses were identified, and then about 9 were taken to the hospital for minor injury, who sustained some injury.
200 displaced persons are said to have just arrived from Madagali local government area of Borno State. Most of them were screened, but apparently the one who carried the bomb was not.
We are beefing up the security. We'll screen them more again. We'll screen them further. And then we are beefing up the security here to give them that confidence. And before they get back into the camp, we'll rescreen them again and put them back. December is the deadline given to the Nigerian military to end insurgency in the northeast. Even though the stronghold of the terrorists appears to have been broken, the militants are not giving up. The consolation here is that the military has offered assurances that the December deadline will be met.
Meanwhile, 3 internally displaced persons from the Damaturu camp with severe medical complications have been taken to the University of Maiduguri Teaching Hospital for urgent medical attention. The Yobe State Coordinator of the National Emergency Management Agency, Alhaji Bashir Garka, in a chat with newsmen, said that the medical cases of the patients are beyond the coping capacity of the Sani Abacha Specialist Hospital in Damaturu. He disclosed that one of the female IDPs in the camp has a tumor rooted on her head, needing urgent operation to save her life. According to him, the second patient has a psychiatric problem, while the third also has a severe medical complication.
We are confronted today with one of the problems in camps. There are 3 patients here with serious medical conditions that require referral to the University Teaching Hospital, Maiduguri. Already, we have a memorandum of understanding with the University of Maiduguri Teaching Hospital that extreme cases of medical conditions be forwarded to them. An appropriate fees to that effect is domiciled with the University Teaching Hospital. It is in this respect that this morning we are sending 3 of our IDPs whose conditions of health is beyond the coping capacity of the Sani Abacha Specialist Hospital.
In the meantime, the President Muhammadu Buhari has directed authorities to tighten security measures in all camps harboring internally displaced persons. This, according to him, will guard against the sort of bombing such as the one in Yola, Adamawa State today. The President equally condemned as heinous and cowardly today's bomb blast in the Kogi camp, which resulted in loss of lives. The President said that the terrorists are bent on causing fear and panic amongst the populace by detonating bombs within soft spots where helpless citizens reside. The President said that the public will not be deterred, but rise in unison to root out whatever is left of the terrorists in our minds. In his words, quote, "We must not let the desperate and evil-minded criminals have any respite. There's now an urgent need for all to be vigilant by paying utmost attention to security issues at all times. Home, work, marketplace, or places of worship, schools, to defeat terrorism." End of quote. The 16 northern governors met today in Kaduna and have resolved to pay outstanding salaries for workers. The governors during the meeting, which held for about 4 hours, also discussed issues of insurgency and the need for peace to prevail to allow for states to gain revenue. One of the governors who spoke to newsmen, Mr. Simon Lalong of Plateau State, says all the discussions, payment of salary topped the agenda.
Salaries. Without bailout, I've paid 6 months. Civil servants are happy. When we address that, we get bailout. We'll come back to the issue of empowerment and engagement for youth and women. Ours, we are blessed with the weather, and we are embarking on tourism. Tourism used to be a very good avenue for raising revenue in Plateau State. And of course, one place that we miss in the last, for the past few years, is the issue of the judgment market. Judgment market used to be one of the best places for raising revenue in the state. But very recently, I told them I'm going to rebuild that market. And secondly, I've moved into lands, restructuring on lands. You know, you can raise a lot of revenue from lands. I've dissolved the permanent secretaries and I've appointed a new permanent secretary for lands.
The national chairman of the All Progressives Grand Alliance, Dr. Victor Oye, says that the party is poised to winning the Kogi state governorship elections coming up in November. Speaking in Abuja, the party's chairman explains that activities on the ground shows that the party is making strong waves in the confluent state.
Our activities in Kogi of recent show that we are ready to win that state. On November 21, we're going to win the governorship election. While PDP is hemorrhaging, APC is asphyxiating. ABGA is the only party with a clean bill of health.
The last may not have been heard of the People's Democratic Party's governorship primary in Kogi State as supporters of Captain Idris Wada resolved to work hard to ensure he becomes the party flag bearer. Governor Wada appealed to them to be calm and promised to resolve all the issues with the National Working Committee in Abuja, which postponed the primary till September the 14th.
It's a very challenging time for the People's Democratic Party members in Kogi State. After several weeks in preparation for the state primaries ahead of the governorship election, the event has been postponed. With several reasons and speculations flying in the air as regards the postponement, delegates from the 21 local government area took their agitation to the government house for clarifications. As early as 6 a.m., the crowd began to swell, holding discussions in small group, telephone calls, and general apprehensions. Only the governor's response can pacify them on why the primaries were postponed. Shortly after his arrival, he addresses the crowd on reasons for the change in date.
The essence is to try and clear issues within the party, within the candidates, so that we go into the election as one united and strong party. And so they've now invited me to Abuja for us to start those meetings and negotiations. But I hear what you say, that in politics, there's a time for... So, I want to assure all of you that I will not let you down.
He will be going to Abuja for further clarifications, but meanwhile, some delegates say there is more to this than meets the eye.
The National Working Committee told us it is issue due to logistics. But we will not believe it because they've planned this for this election more than 6 weeks.
This election is critical to the survival of this party, PDP, in the upcoming elections. We know our mistakes in the past. I'm sure that we are not ready to repeat the same mistake.
Time is ticking and the rally is pumping. The electoral rules are clear. The November 21st governorship election date is sacrosanct. The opposition candidate has been named. Olu Phillips, Channels Television News.
In part 2, after the break, the challenge of managing pension funds. That's in a moment. Stay with us.